Right, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by former WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Lucas Big Daddy Browne. Now, it's a massive achievement to become a world champion in one sport, but at the weekend, you can do it in two, challenging for the BKB heavyweight championship of the world. Tell me about this opportunity and about your opponent, because he's a tough guy, unbeaten in the sport.
You know what? People forget that I've also done MMA and I fought Daniel Cormier for a world title. So that's three world title fights, three different disciplines. So like yeah, people forget that. But I'm just excited, man. I really am. As you said, I've done the boxing aspect. I thought let's give this a go and see how we are, and here we are for a world title. So I am wrapped.
100%. I mean, you mentioned the three disciplines there, and I know you've done a bit of kickboxing as well, so you've truly done a little bit of
I,
everything.
I did one fight. Yeah, I'm not built for kickboxing. I know that much.
But anyway, you've got this fight at the weekend, and I feel like having watched your debut in BKB, it just seems like you're in love with this sport because watching it, even the commentators were picking up on just how much you were smiling in your debut.
Yeah, it was. I'll be honest, very nerve wracking. I finally had that nervousness, anxiousness, fear, whatever you want to call it, which I haven't had for years in the boxing. So to have that, it's a real fight. It's knuckles, it's actually a real fight. So I'm like, ooh, and it made me move more, do more, be more assertive, and everything else because it was real. So I enjoyed that aspect of it.
100%. I mean, you've been in enemy territory before, obviously. You've been to Russia to fight Ruslan Chagaev. Going
Yeah,
into Florida, obviously, this guy, it's his hometown. This is where he thrives. How much of a
yeah,
difference is that going to make at the weekend? Do you revel in that opportunity? Because you know you've been there, you've done that already.
yeah. I enjoy being the underdog, which is good because there's number one, no one has any expectations, so it's good. But at the same time, yeah, I remember at the O2 Arena for Dillian White, and as I'm walking out, everyone was just yelling at me like abuse, and I'm like, "We're here," And for me, it doesn't matter. I've been on that end of it for so many years now. It doesn't matter. Everyone always underestimates me the junior far fight. I was the underdog. I was the guy that had like the big for the betting tips and everything else. I knocked him out in the first round. Like I don't mind any of that shit. It's part of boxing. It's part of fighting. Uh, I am who I am. I know what I've got, and I'm gonna bring it.
I mean, you've achieved so much in your career, winning that world title in 2016. I mean, if your
Yeah.
life was a movie, you can think that moment in 2016 and then go all the way down the line to winning a world title again almost a decade later. It's crazy, right?
It's definitely something different. As I said, I'm very slept on. I don't know why the Australian media hasn't jumped on it. I've got more fans in the UK than I do in Australia. So it's a weird little concept to sort of grab my head around, but you know, media is media.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, your career has so many big wins. Everyone always goes to the Ruslan Chagaev one, but you've
Yeah,
also been inside the ring with one of the greatest of all time in James Toney. Tell me a little
yeah.
bit about what that was like being in the room with him and ultimately beating somebody who's undeniably one of the best to do this.
Well, let's be honest. He should not have been in the heavyweight division.
Hmm.
That goes without saying. Now, I was on the way up, so we sort of met at a good spot because he was on the way down, I was on the way up. We sort of met. Um, I for that fight, I didn't want to be silly enough to be close enough for him to fire off. So I kept my distance and kept my timing and my distance perfect. So he didn't have time to or a chance to do that. So I just played my game, and that's all that mattered. Yeah,
And obviously the Shagair victory in particular, I just want to touch on that because obviously in terms
yes,
of Rocky stories, it was
yeah,
about as good as it gets. You obviously
yeah,
went down, you come back and secure that knockout victory over
yeah,
Shagair.
yeah,
You boxed well throughout the entirety of the fight, but it looked like he was on the cusp of getting the win, and obviously you bounced back. Tell me about
yeah.
landing that punch and the moments before it. Were you looking for that right hand again and again and again?
Yeah. But firstly, no matter what, I was going to lose. If that ever went to decision in his country with the president, who's the one that's running the show, I was never going to win. So I had to knock him out regardless. The way he knocked me down in the sixth, he went for a body shot with the right hand, come over with the left. So I thought, okay, I'm not getting hit with that again. So when I ducked under, obviously because I didn't want to get hit, I followed something we had trained a lot in practice. So natural, it was lovely. I just come across right hand. I was like, yes. But then he got back up. I'm like, no. So I don't know what you would call the punches I threw, but it was just punches and bunches. There was no technique. It was bang, 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 bang. And they stopped it. So I was extremely wrapped. As I said to Aaron, yes, there was not a sound in the place. And my manager jumped in screaming, and I literally looked at him and said, "Shut the fuck up." My security mind came on, you know. So regardless, that for me it was one of the best moments of my life. That all got ruined by all the drug shit eventually, anyway. So I think that's another reason why the Australian media doesn't jump on because of the drugs issue. I was cleared, got the belt back, all is well, but like the damage hadn't been done. I was supposed to fight Klitschko next. That was my next fight. So it really did ruin my life and my boxing. But like, here we are going again.
I remember listening to the commentary, and I think Alex Stevens said the miracle had happened in Chechnya because it was such
Yes.
an amazing moment for you. It was exceptional. And I remember the silence and the looks on the crowd as you pulled off that win. And you mentioned the president there, and I know that you had an interesting interaction with him prior to the fight. He tried to punch you, didn't he, or something along those lines?
No, he did. He punched me. It was a stomach punch. But like, there was no warning. There was no can I. It was just, hi, how are you? Good, yeah. Bang. I went, okay. What do I do now? Because I can't hit you back. I actually asked one of my I had 3 minders in a 24-hour period, so like 3, 3, 3, 3. And I said, what would you do if I hit you back? I'd shoot you. So I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, it was one of those moments like, now what do I do? So I just let him have it.
Yeah, 100%. And Lucas, we know you have so many different talents from boxing to kickboxing to MMA to now bare-knuckle boxing, but you can sing a little bit as well. Can you tell me about your time on Australian Idol?
You know what? I like you. Um, as a kid, I always sung as a kid. I went to a Catholic school, so there's always church and stuff. But I'm very much like an R&B sort of person where you got the harmonies and the groups, and I've always loved it. So it's something that I've just loved to do. And yeah, I went to Australian Idol second season, and I made the top 50. So literally just before the TV. So I was very happy. It's just the fact that I like singing. So it's good fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. If you could do a duet with anybody in the world, who would you pick, Lucas?
From a boxing aspect, Tyson Fury, just for the fun of it. Shit. Boyz II Men.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a
They're
good one.
in essence, I taught myself how to sing, and it was pretty much off them. So they have 4 different voices. So I made sure I was able to sort of duplicate the 4 voices. So, or yeah, as much as I can. But yeah, definitely Boyz II Men.
Yeah, that'd be good. I hope to one day buy the Lucas Browne Boyz II Men album. But you took
The Christmas edition. Yeah.
the Christmas edition. I mean, that'd be a fantastic Christmas for me to get that. But you mentioned Tyson Fury there, and I know that you sparred him, and he didn't just throw boxing shots at you. He mixed in the elbows, didn't he?
He took the piss, yeah. Luckily, I had a headgear on, but I was like 1 week out from the Dillian White fight, and he threw his spinning back elbow. I landed. I sort of sat there and went, what? And then boom, what are you doing? Yeah, so full on spinning back elbow, but he was just taking the piss the whole time. Lovely fella, but he was taking the piss, yeah.
Yeah, and his family obviously has a long history in bare knuckle boxing. How do you reckon he get on in this scene?
His younger brother came with him, and the night before he had a bare knuckle fight. Had not a mark on him, so that was good. Fury's hard because Fury's long and he plays very long, does it very well. So even from a boxing point of view, he's a very hard person to fight because he fights like he's sort of 6 foot, but he's 6'9". So it makes it very hard.
100%. And somebody else I wanted to ask you about, who I know you've done a lot of sparring with, is Mark Hunt, who I believe is probably the biggest puncher you've ever gone toe to toe with, right?
I have, yes. It was very early days when I first started, and they said, "Jump in the cage. We got someone for you." And Mark Hunt walked in. I'm like, "Okay." And like literally, I'd been training like maybe 6 months. That's it. So I was throwing punches, everything else. He just ate them and smiled and went bang, forehead punch. I went, damn, you know what I mean? So it was a good sort of wake up call to what's out there as well. Lovely fella. I always got along with him, talked well, but yeah, He can punch, man.
100%. And Lucas, obviously, there's so many options for you should you win this heavyweight title. There's loads of guys I know you're going to want to fight. I know Kamil Sokolowski's been mentioned. You guys fought in Scotland a few years back. Is he who you'd like next, or is there anyone else from the boxing world you'd like to drag over and fight in BKB?
When it comes to likeness, I don't care. That honestly doesn't bother me. I just want to be able to sort of leave my kids and myself a legacy. Yeah, I did it. I tried. I succeeded and or not, but like I did it, and that's my thing. I started fighting because I didn't want to look back and think I could have done that. So I'd rather do it and fail. So again, here I am. Yeah.
Lucas, thank you so much for giving me some time. I really appreciated talking all things Australian Idol, James Toney, the Christmas album with Boyz II Men. I will be buying that.
Yes,
I'm putting that
yes.
on my Christmas list. But Lucas, before I let you go, is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
Just a big thank you to the UK like public in general, and obviously the media. I've always been very well received over there, and I just want to thank you all very much.